Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, February 1st, and I'm your host, Krista McDonald. Monday night, the Budget Balancing Committee met for their monthly meeting at Town Hall. Before the meeting, there was a rally held by the proponents of the proposed override. For more on the rally and the meeting, we send it over to Brian Boudreau.
Monday night, a group of Norwood residents gathered on the front lawn of Town Hall to show their support for an operational override. The organizers of the rally scheduled it to occur immediately prior to the Budget Balancing Committee meeting. Adults and children braved the frigid temperatures to show their support of an override.
The Budget Balancing Committee has done some really good work coming up with an option for an operational override. And Norwood's one of the few towns that's never taken that option, and I think they have a really good strategic plan, so the people are here tonight to encourage this board to move that recommendation along to the selectmen, so then we can get this on the ballot for the spring and let the voters decide if the town's ready for an override. And I think you could see that the town is ready for an override.
Attendees of the rally included some of Norwood's elected officials who wanted to express their support of the proposed override.
I think everyone is here because they care about what happens to this town, and just walking through and seeing the signs and seeing all of this massive community support is really exciting. And just hearing, them chanting Norwood Pride means override, I think it really speaks for itself. And I think that it's another testament of why we're really lucky to live in this town where so many people care about the future of this town.
Inside Town Hall, the Budget Balancing Committee started their meeting at 6 p.m. The committee decided to move the meeting from Room 24 of Town Hall to Memorial Hall to accommodate the overflow crowd. Following a discussion of new information received on state aid, the committee voted to reconsider their previous recommendation of a $7 million override.
Bill.
Make a motion that we change, as I just said, change the number at our last meeting of $7 million, recommended for an override to $5,950,000 based on the new information, state aid, in the Governor's House 1 bill.
After 8 months of meetings, the Budget Balancing Committee unanimously voted to recommend a $5.95 million override to the Board of Selectmen.
All in favor of 5.95 million? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. It's very good. It's excellent that we get a unanimous vote. I think that's very significant.
Following up from their decision Monday night, the Budget Balancing Committee appeared before the Board of Selectmen to formally deliver their recommendation to propose the operational override.
The committee has been working, as Mr. Slater will tell you, since last summer on a 5-year projection. I believe they have some a recommendation to us of an important nature. It involves an operational override.
We met throughout the summer and the fall, beginning of December. We took a vote in December for an override of $7 million, which included money for the schools, money for the town, money for snow and ice, and money for roads. And that was the recommendation we thought we'd be going with. However, last week, the governor released his new cherry sheet. And Norwood came out very well, very favorably compared to a number of communities, particularly in the Chapter 70 school funds.
After having the discussions, it was time to vote, and Selectman Plasko made a motion.
Very good. Mr. Plasko.
I don't know if it's too early, if there's more discussion, but we've had quite a bit of discussion. I don't think we want to see this board, at least at this time, take a position on whether there should or shouldn't be an override passed. But I think we should pass a motion, or I would make a motion and hope it would pass, that we accept the recommendation of the Townwide Budget Balancing Committee that we should have a community discussion over the need for, whether or not there's a need for an override, and support putting an override on a ballot at a future time to be discussed at next week's meeting.
Second.
Town Manager Tony Mazzucco sat down with Jack McCarthy Wednesday night on Norwood Digest. A wide variety of topics were discussed. Amongst them was the hottest subject in town right now, the override.
So it seems this is the first time that people are taking a serious look at an operational override. And you're right in the thick of it. And how's that group getting along? How's it going?
So far the conversation's been positive, which is important. Everyone is doing what they think is best for the community. So, you can say there's no right answer, there's no wrong answer. Everyone has the best interest of the community at their heart, and we just have, some people will have a difference of opinion as to what leads to what's best for the community. I always encourage people to look at the future, and whenever you make a decision like that, think about where we're going to be in 5 years, in 10 years, and in 20 years. It's about looking down the road. We can get sort of caught up in the politics of it. We can get caught up in the battles of A or B and this budget line versus that budget line. But take a step back and say, where do we want to be in 10 or 20 years? And in 10 or 20 years, we want to look back and say, thankfully they made the right decisions, and not, they didn't make good decisions 10 or 20 years ago, and that's why we're the situation we're in.
Right.
Norwood hasn't made any bad decisions. Norwood hasn't done anything wrong. There's been no fault. It's just a discussion about where we want the community to go and where people want the community to go. And tax overrides are difficult. There's a lot of politics behind them. There's an affordability question for a lot of people in the community. And then there's an honest question about where democracy and what level of service do people want.
Right.
Some people may think we don't need a higher level of service. Some people are fine with the level of service we have. Some people may want to pay for a higher level of service. And those are all fine. There's nothing inherently wrong with any of them. So I hope the discussion continues, and as long as it stays positive and everyone on both sides of an issue has the best interest of the community at heart, we just disagree how to get there, and that's fine. Disagreement is okay.
But one of the things that I really appreciate when I sit back and watch, because it's not like this in every town. It's the town, the town side of government gets along with the school side, the school department, and when you're working in concert, you get way more done than when you're not. And I see it all over the state in what I do.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, there's no town and there's no school. There's just Norwood.
Well said. Thanks, Tony. Stay tuned after this break to hear from Tom O'Rourke of the Neponset Valley Chamber of Commerce and for this week's Living Local.
Hello, I'm Selectman Paul Bishop, and I'm here to make a very important announcement. Each year, the Memorial Library in Norwood holds an annual Boston Bruins Pajama Drive. The Boston Bruins partner with the local libraries across the Commonwealth to donate pajamas for kids so that all the kids across the Commonwealth in our country can have a safe and warm pair of pajamas to wear in the winter. We are accepting pajamas for boys and girls of any age, and you can drop off pajamas at our local library or any town facility, including Town Hall, the Civic, the Senior Center, the DPW building, and of course the Light Department. This year we're working with the library to step up our game a little bit. Every year the town of Bourne, Massachusetts, and the Jonathan Bourne Public Library always wins by donating the most pajamas. We know we can beat them this year. For this year's campaign, we're adopting the hashtag #BeatBourne. We know that Norwood can donate more pajamas than Bourne. We think the Norwood Memorial Library is better than their library, and we think Norwood is a better hockey town, and we know that for a fact. And what better way to show that by outdoing Bourne this year by donating as many pajamas as we can. So from February 1st to March 15th, you can drop off new, unused kids' pajamas at our library or any town facility. Let's keep our children warm and safe this season and help out the library, and most importantly, help the children, and let's beat Bourne. Thank you for your time.
Welcome back. Thursday night, the Neponset Valley Chamber of Commerce held their 125th annual meeting at the Four Point Sheraton. The NVCC's goal is to enhance quality of life and economic development in the Neponset Valley by supporting and connecting its businesses, municipalities, and educational facilities. Tom O'Rourke, president of the NVCC, tells us about the night.
Hi, I'm Tom O'Rourke. I'm the president of the Neponset Valley Chamber of Commerce, and we're very excited tonight to be celebrating our 125th anniversary. This is our 125th annual meeting here at the Four Points in Norwood, and we've got a collection of business and community leaders coming to join us tonight, and we'll be honoring some of the businesses who make up the Neponset Valley region, companies like Steel Art Company, McRae's Candies, Westwood Media Center, and Jim Kivlahan are all going to be receiving awards tonight for the work that they do in the community. And we're also going to be revealing our new brand image, our new name, and our new website tonight. And if you promise not to tell anybody, I could give you a hint. The new name is going to be the Neponset River Regional Chamber, and we're going to reveal that tonight. We're very excited about it, and we thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Tom. Now let's take a look at this week's Living Local.
I'm Anthony Pasalacqua. I'm the head brewer at Percival Brewing Company.
Percival Brewing Company is the culmination of owner Phil Oliveira's dream of having a brick-and-mortar brewery producing high-quality craft beers, focused on sharing his love of brewing with the local community. Head brewer Anthony Pasalacqua explains Percival's evolution to its current site at the Norwood Space Center.
Percival Brewing Company started in 2011. Originally, we were a contract brewery, but the owner, Phil Oliveira, had the dream that eventually he wanted to have his own brick and mortar building. I hooked up with him 2 years ago, and last 2017, in October, we opened up, and with the mission of producing high-quality craft beers, locally produced, small scale, serving the immediate area and not looking to try and mass distribute across the state. We'd rather have people come in and have a more intimate experience with us so we can actually see our customers face to face versus reading random internet reviews from someone 20 miles away who never even met you or even got to experience this place.
Percival's Tap Room produces a variety of high-quality craft beers.
Right now we have currently 25 different beers that we have brewed. We have a couple staples that we keep on. Dod Ale, which is a American Pale Ale, a little bit more on the classic side than the newer side. And we have Yob, which is an American Pilsner, which is very crisp, clean. Our take on a Pilsner, because why not? You don't see enough of those. You see everything is IPA these days. We love IPAs and we put them out left and right, but we want to have a variety for our board. We don't want to just service one type of customer. We want to be able to touch all areas of craft beer.
All of the 25 plus beers served at the tap room are produced in-house at the brewery.
All production is done in-house. We're small scale. We only have a 3-barrel brew house, 2 7-barrel brew tanks, and a 3-barrel small fermenter. So we only have 3 fermenters going. Can only produce a limited amount of time. We're in the production plans right now to get basically 3 times production size of what we are right now, hopefully by the summer.
With limited prior knowledge of Norwood, Anthony has found a second home here in a community that has welcomed Percival with open arms.
We love Norwood. I'm from Billerica myself, and I had only heard of the Auto Mile on Norwood. I'd never actually been to Norwood myself. Been here, I love it. I love the town. I love the eateries, the people. It's great access to every major highway just around here real quick. You can get into Boston real quick, you can get to Rhode Island. I love the people, I love the town, I love the building. The people here at the Space Center are great. A lot of our customers actually come down on a Thursday, usually from the Space Center offices, so it's really nice to interact and see the same people every week.
Nothing pleases Pasalacqua more than having customers leave Percival with a smile after enjoying the experience of a good craft beer and a small local brewery.
We love making people smile with the amount of satisfaction people can get from a good craft beer. We love especially new converts. So anyone that thinks, I'm not really sure if I like beer, or if I do like beer and I've tried, we would love to just see you come in and try it. And if you like our beer, that's really what it's about right now. You know, it's about making people smile. It's about seeing that satisfaction on my end of a product that I made and being able to see people enjoy it. That makes me the happiest guy in the world.
If you want to learn more about Percival Brewery and stay up to date with all their happenings, please follow them on Facebook.
Stay tuned after this break to find out what is happening in your local government.
Your home for all things Norwood, online at norwoodcommunitymedia.org.
Welcome back to Norwood News. On Monday night, the Planning Board met in Room 12 of Town Hall. The first hearing of the night was David Hearn presenting a plan for 9 Upton Ave. The town currently has the property divided into 3 separate lots, and Hearn proposed to have the plans changed so that the plan showed 2 lots. The motion passed 5-0. The next agenda item of the night was rezoning a historical overlay district in town. The property being discussed was at 298 Washington Street, or the Historical Dollhouse Museum. Representatives of the property stated that due to the home's size and age, selling the property has become nearly impossible. So the proposed plan is to keep the current structure and build townhouses on the surrounding 2 acres of land. There was no decision made on this agenda item during this meeting. The Planning Board will meet again in the upcoming weeks. On Tuesday, before meeting with the Budget Balancing Committee, the Selectmen met with DPW Director Mac Ryan, who gave a presentation on the importance of recycling and how to make your own compost. Following Mr. Ryan were James Collin and Daryl Hanson of Norwood Light Department, who also gave a brief report of their department activities this month. Holding a brief 15-minute meeting, the Town-wide Facilities Committee met to quickly discuss facility resources and planning and how a potential override could affect the Facilities Committee. Wednesday night, the Finance Commission met for about an hour in Room 24 of Town Hall. The meeting began with an approved fund transfer of $8,750 to the Morrill Memorial Library for a chiller. After some discussion of the first passed budget, along with input from Town Manager Tony Mazzucco on financial policies, the Commission discussed the school budget and the importance of articulating the concerns in the clearest way possible to the general public.
People who are in the system, may understand some of the issues that presently are within the system or potentially could be within the system. Other people, I mean, I'm obviously a little bit closer to it, being on budget balancing or whatever, but, people like me who don't have kids in the system anymore, or some people who may not have had kids in the system for 20, 30 years, may not be close to it and don't know some of the issues. And it's up to them to get the information out there, articulate the concerns properly, and then let the chips fall as they may.
Oh, I think they'll work hard at doing that, but I'm wondering whether some have the pulse to really know in the way they need, meaning the voters need to hear it.
The Finance Commission will meet again in a few weeks. The last day of January, town government ended with the Permanent Building Construction Committee meeting in their usual spot of Town Hall Room 11. During the 45-minute meeting, the committee discussed two ongoing projects, the Chapel Project and the Town Hall Project. The Chapel Project is drawing closer to a finished product, and the committee will check in during their next meeting on February 7th. To watch complete government coverage, tune into the NCM Government channel or watch it on demand at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Stay tuned after this break to find out what is happening in your schools. Welcome back. Now let's toss it over to our friend Tim Rose to find out what is happening around the Norwood School District.
Hi guys, let's take a look at some activities happening in our Norwood schools this week. At Norwood High School, the civics class participated in the We the People competition in Boston. We the People is part of a national program run by the Center for Civic Education. Students work in small groups to prepare for and participate in mock congressional hearings on a variety of constitutional issues. They prepare 4-minute speeches for each question posed to their group, and at the competition, they present the speech and answer 6 minutes of follow-up questions from judges. This year, there were 7 schools from across Massachusetts that participated in the state competition. The students did extremely well presenting their well-written speeches and fielding complex questions about the Constitution with poise and confidence. Congratulations to Xavier Cullen, Denasia Gardner, and Sarah Mahedon, who earned a unit award for their excellent presentations on freedom of speech and the death penalty. In the NHS Civics class, students learn about the origins and frameworks of the Constitution, and what that means for the functions of government and the rights of the people. Thank you to Dr. Thompson, Dr. Galligan, Tony Mazzucco, and many parents for going to support them on Saturday. It really was an experience the students will remember for a long time. At the Willett Early Childhood Center, dental hygienists from Dental Associates of Walpole visited this week to teach kindergartners how to keep their teeth healthy and clean. Students learned the proper way to brush their teeth, how to floss, and how certain foods affect the health of their teeth. They had a chance to practice proper toothbrushing using the cool puppets brought along by the hygienists. All students were given a free toothbrush, toothpaste, and dental floss. The Willett kindergartners would like to remind all residents of Norwood to floss those teeth. This week, 4th graders at the Cleveland School participated in the National Geographic Bee. Students must qualify to participate in the bee by answering 20 preliminary geography questions. This year, 17 students qualified to participate. Mrs. Capola, the school principal, asked students challenging geography questions until there are 3 finalists. This year's finalists were Madison Barker, Nolan Golding, and Thomas Reynolds. Madison came in 3rd, and then came the championship round. Nolan and Thomas were asked to write the answers to 3 different questions at once, and the participant with the most right answers wins the bee. This year's winner of the bee was Nolan Golding. Last week, Food Services came to Little Mustang Preschool to teach students about citrus fruits. They learned about different types of citrus fruits, from lemons to grapefruits. They taught the students that these fruits grow in warm, sunny climates like Florida, and certainly not Norwood at this time of the year. Their favorite part of the demonstration was the taste test. Each student got 3 different types of citrus fruits to try. Students describe them all different ways: sweet, sour, juicy, yummy, and some yucks. Students had fun exploring different kinds of foods and learning from their friends at Food Services. Thank you, Food Services, for providing a fun, interactive presentation for our preschoolers. At the Callahan School on Fridays, students in Room 1 partake in Yoga Friday with Mrs. O'Donnell. They work on calming techniques and mindfulness. Room 1 also has daily 5 to 10 minute sessions of mindfulness with Mrs. Milbier after lunch and recess so that students can reboot, get their bodies and minds ready for the rest of the day, and regulate their emotions. Students are using all technology in all grades. Here, the Callahan Grade 1 students are practicing keyboarding skills with Mr. Rowland in the computer lab. 4th and 5th grade band students recently participated in the Festival of the Bands at Norwood High School. The Callahan students enjoyed the evening. Mrs. Lawrence and Mr. Smith conducted the elementary bands during this performance. In addition, Mrs. Connor Moen acted as the Old Grey Goose. The highlight of the evening was the finale, where all levels played together during a piece composed by Mr. Smith. Let's listen. At the Balch School, former students visited Mrs. Karapetis' 5th grade classroom to give the rising 6th graders some pointers in navigating the Coakley Middle School. They answered questions about schedules, rotating days, and routines. The Balch held its annual family game night last Friday. They had a great turnout and a fun time was had by all. Thank you, Balch PTO. Also at the Balch, Mrs. Jill Milton, elementary math coordinator, modeled the use of plickers in Mrs. McDonough's 3rd grade math class, and Mrs. Salvucci's 4th graders dropped in to see plickers in action. Plickers is a way for students to respond to multiple choice questions and receive real-time immediate feedback by watching their responses appear in the smartboard. Students are given a Plickers card, and based on how they hold it, an iPhone or iPad camera then scans the room and a graph of the answers appear. This provides an immediate feedback loop and demonstrates live learning in action. At the Coakley Middle School, 7th grade students explored the geography of Africa using virtual reality headsets in history classes this week. They were able to see the continent from space and visit places like Victoria Falls, the Namib Desert, the Serengeti Plains, the Central African Rainforest, and the Great Rift Valley. Through this Google expedition, with each new scene, they are also learning about what they are seeing and experiencing. It's great to see all the creative learning that our Norwood students have the opportunity to experience, from the Little Mustang Preschool Academy all the way up to the Norwood High Civics class. Well, that's it for school news this week, and thank you for watching. Now let's go to Brian Dunn with the latest sports update.
Thanks, Tim, and welcome to another week of this week's Sports Update. A little bit of a different look at the beginning here because I have a very special guest with me, head coach of the girls basketball team, Amy Lepley. Amy, very nice to have you in as always.
Thank you for having me.
So we'll start off by kind of, rehashing kind of the season in general. 13-1 you guys sit overall. I mean, I think everybody on the outside looking in would say you guys are having an incredible season, but as a coach, what have you seen through the first 14 games?
I mean, my girls know that I'm very tough on them. Even last night, we had a win over Holliston, and I'm just never satisfied. I always think that we can play better, and that might drive them a little bit crazy, but I hold them to a really high standard. I always have done that for myself, and I do that to them, and I think that they appreciate it, but I mean, 13-1 is amazing, and the fact that we're so young is awesome, but we can always do better in different areas.
And you mentioned it, kind of a great segue into my next question is, the squad is a very young squad, no seniors on the team. It's really just a good group of freshmen, sophomores, and juniors kind of putting it all together. Is there any sort of challenge or maybe even sort of advantage of having such a young squad going up against other teams in the Tri-Valley that might be more experienced?
I think it's a little bit of both. There's definitely challenges in the sense that I think that sometimes we have a hard time playing to our level instead of playing to the level of our competition, and I think that's part of just being young. But the advantages of them being so young is that they just love to be with each other, and it's really awesome to see. There's so much young energy, and they're so energetic, and they're always laughing, and it's just a really fun team to be a part of.
And this is the first year, not just for your program, but for everybody, is the first real test run of the Tri-Valley League. So, the Westwoods, the Ashlands, the Hopkintons of Massachusetts, you guys go up against them on a regular basis. So as a coach, what has kind of been the biggest I guess, hurdle to jump through transition-wise to go from the Bay State to the Tri-Valley? Has it been easier? Has there been, you know, advantages or disadvantages there?
I think it's kind of exciting because it's totally new. And no teams really know us. Well, they do now, but no teams really knew us. I think the challenges are just knowing everybody's style. I mean, a lot of the teams are playing different zones that we've never seen before, whereas in the Bay State, it's more of just man-to-man. So just kind of being able to adjust from game to game. But we do get a lot of game film, so we watch it as a team a ton. And now that we're going through the second time, we can really see those ins and outs of those teams.
And I was going to say, I think the film and kind of the game planning aspect of it is definitely just probably the biggest challenge for you, because it's new. Like when you see Westwood and Hopkinton, like you guys have never played these teams before.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's probably one of the bigger challenges.
Yeah, I like it though. I love game planning. I love watching film. I always have. So it's kind of enjoyable for me to kind of pick apart teams and see where their weaknesses are and where their strengths are and kind of relay those to the girls.
Stay tuned for the full interview soon, but in the meantime, the girls basketball team recently dropped their matchup to Walpole by a final score of 52-42. We start this week's recap over at Hopkinton High School. The boys and girls track squads were in action against Medfield. Although both teams came up a bit short in the final scores, we had some strong individual finishes from some of the athletes. Let's throw it down to Tim Rose and Kevin Sisk, who talked to some of our winners.
All right, Myra, so you just took first place in that race. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. It was a weird surface. We don't usually practice or race on this surface, so I was pretty nervous.
And how does this race compare to your others that you've had throughout the season?
Well, this one actually had 4 hurdles. We usually do 5 because it's a 45 instead of a 55, so definitely a different setup.
Awesome.
Now I'm here with Liam Fogarty, senior sprinter. Liam, you just secured a first place victory royale in the 600. How was your race today?
It was good. You know, I don't know my time yet, but it didn't feel like a PR, but I was glad to get the win.
How did you handle the short track?
It was weird. The start was weird. It's usually 3 laps at the Reggie, but here it was 4.5, and it was a weird race, but I got it done.
We take you closer to home to the Westwood pool, where swimming and diving met Westwood for the final home meet of the year. It was a packed pool this past Tuesday. It was loud. So loud that, in fact,
I can't even hear. I know, it's so exciting.
That's how loud it was. Although the final score was a win for Westwood, check out the finishers here for Norwood. The first relay team took home first place to start the meet off strong for the Mustangs. Some other notable first place finishers were Victor Green in the 50 freestyle, Jake Wilkinson in the 100 freestyle, and Michaela Jordan in the 100 breaststroke. Not only was that good for first, but a time good enough to qualify for states in a couple weeks. Michaela Hurley, who will also be moving on to sectionals, placed second in the 200 individual medley, and the tail end of the meet included a first place freestyle finish at the 400-meter relay. Congrats to all the swimmers and divers on a great meet, and good luck to those moving on to sectionals and states. Back at home, the wrestling squad took over the gym for their senior meet against Hopkinton. Some strong individual performances, including wins from both Kevin Curtis and Cordell Souther. As you can see on the face of determination of Cordell Souther, he secures a senior meet win to cap off what was a 51-27 victory over the Hillers on Wednesday night. Over at Bagco, it was Teacher Appreciation Night for the girls hockey team. Etiquette's faculty came out to support the girls in uniform, and you could say the support gave them the boost they needed because the Mustangs cruised to a 9-1 victory over Dover Sherborne. Thank you to the teachers that came out. Boys hockey was in action this week as well. Looking to stay on pace to make the tournament, they pick up a win over Acton by a final score of 3-2. The boys basketball also battled former Bay State foe Walpole, and they dropped their game to the Rebels 58-50. Gymnastics, who continue to trend upward, have again established their dominance on the mat. They beat the Medway Mustangs by a final score of 139.25 to 134.75. And I have an update from Norwood Nuggets hockey coach Mark Hoover and some news around youth hockey. The Pee Wee C team has been dominating this season, so much as to be bumped up from the Yankee Conference to the South Shore Conference. They made it to the finals of the District 3 Tier 4 state playoffs and are continuing to have a fantastic season. Offensively, Ryan Doyle and the Brearley twins have been strong. Defensively, Harrison Hugh and Diego Martinez have locked down the blue line, and Sam Gurney and Jack Whitney have gotten the job done between the pipes. Well done, guys, and we look forward to hearing more from the Pee Wees as well as all the teams in youth hockey in the coming weeks. And that's all for sports this week. As always, you can catch up with all the scores and scheduling updates by following NHS_Mustangs on Twitter or visiting NorwoodMustangs.com. And last but not least, go Pats. Now back to Kristen with more Norwood news.
Thanks, Brian. Last Saturday, the Norwood High School Backstage Booster hosted their annual Character Breakfast. Students from the drama department got into costume and welcomed children from all over the town. There are a wide range of characters this year, from Buzz Lightyear to Star Wars. It is a special day not only for the children in attendance, but for all the students involved.
Good morning and welcome to the 10th annual Character Breakfast here at Norwood High School. It's being sponsored again this year by Backstage Boosters, who supports and helps to fund the drama programs here at the high school and at the middle school. This year, again, we're very lucky to have a cast of characters. We have Olaf, Elsa, we have Batman, and we have many of the Star Wars characters. So we certainly hope that people will come again this year and next year and have a wonderful time and have a nice continental breakfast. Thank you.
So today I'm at the Character Breakfast and I'm playing Moana. And I really love doing this because I know that a lot of kids like Moana, and I love how they greet me and they're so positive and they're just very happy all the time and they love to take pictures with me, and I really find it enjoyable to see them happy with a big smile on their face.
Our favorite characters can come to life for them, and it's great for me because when I was little, I didn't have a way to get to Disney. I didn't have a way to get to these events, and putting this on here is a dream come true for so many kids. And I've seen so many kids today overcome their fears to come and hug me, which is great. And I love being able to show kids that you're all a princess, and everyone that dresses up here, they're all princesses, and that really makes me happy.
So I'm playing Woody today here at the Character Breakfast from Toy Story, and right next to me is Buzz Lightyear. And today we're out here doing this event because it's a great community event for all the younger kids in the area, and we really love to see all the faces light up, and it's a great event for them to come. And if you can't make it all the way over to Disney, we got a little miniature version of that right here in the cafeteria, and I think it's a great event for all the kids in the community to come and be a part of.
And it's really hard to help spark the imagination sometimes. They see you, they really think you're the character that you are, and it's really nice to see them having a great time.
Great job to everyone involved. In NCM news, if you are a Verizon cable customer, you may have noticed some interruptions on the NCM channels this week. Verizon has been on site to install and test high-definition equipment to provide NCM the ability to broadcast an HD channel. Stay tuned and follow NCM on social media to learn when the new HD channel will be launched. The annual Winter Concert Series began last Sunday with a performance by the Randolph Community Band. The weekly concerts are hosted by the Concert on the Common Committee, who are also the organizers of the summer events. Here is a list of the upcoming concerts. Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend.